Hi, I'm Isaac and you're watching Isaac's Bushcraft and Survival. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a primitive water filter. And this primitive water filter works great if you forget to bring a filter when you go camping or just for survival purposes if you are in a survival situation. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need for our water filter is an empty pop bottle, which is great because you can find these anywhere because people litter all over the place. So if you need to find one of these, you can find them almost anywhere, even in the woods if you need to. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the end off here. I'm just using a knife that I have. Just gonna cut the end off. Just be careful not to cut yourself. And we're gonna have the end open like that. Now the biggest thing about these filters, smoke's kind of in my face, I have a fire going, because with this filter you still have to boil the water, because what we're doing is we're basically filtering out most of the sediment, because this is the water that I'm going to be filtering. As you can see, it's super muddy, dirty, and disgusting. This filter will filter out that, but it won't filter out bacteria, so you still have to boil it. But the good thing about these filters is they filter out chemicals and chlorine and other heavy metals too. So even if they don't filter out bacteria, you're getting rid of heavy metals, chemicals, and other stuff like that. So you still have to boil it. But the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take off our cap here. We're gonna take it and we're going to make a little hole in it. Actually, we might make a couple little holes depending. But that's basically what's gonna happen. Oop, dropped it. Basically what's gonna happen with that is when we do this, it'll help our water to filter through. Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna do different layers here. So we're gonna layer sand, then we're gonna put charcoal. Yeah, so we're gonna put sand on the bottom, charcoal, and then we're gonna put more sand and then larger rocks on top, because the larger rocks will trap the heavier contaminants, or stuff like sand, dirt, rocks, and then the sand will filter out the fine stuff, and the charcoal will help filter out bacteria and not bacteria, chemicals and other stuff, and make it clear. And that way you can boil it, because I mean, you could boil this water here right now, but the problem is you don't want to be drinking silt and sediment and all that. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Because even if you boil the muddy water, it wouldn't make it safe to drink, because there's still bacteria and potentially harmful different organisms and stuff, and that can still be harmful in the water. So that's why we're filtering it. So I'm going to make this hole a little bit bigger with my knife. I want it to be able to filter out a little bit faster. But you just twist and twist. And then the first thing we're gonna do is, obviously we're gonna put this back on. But the very first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get some dry grass and we're gonna shove it in there. And you're probably wondering why we're doing that, because that way the sand doesn't fall through the hole that we have in the end of our container. That hole's there to let the water out, but we don't want sand falling through there. So by putting in dead dry grass, it helps to seal off that opening so that no sand can go through and fall through. I'll try to shove it in there good so you can see. Just using a stick. And then, yeah, so we got it in there. Just gonna keep shoving it down. Get the extra bits out so you can see the water. Then what we're gonna add is, I have some sand that I put in a jar that I collected, and you can collect this from, a creek bed or something like that. And we're just gonna pour some of it in, like that, probably about that much. And then I got some charcoal that I crushed up, What's great about that is you can actually get it from your campfire if you need to. So even if you don't have any other option, you can still get it from your campfire, crush it up, and add it to your filter. But as you can see, it's really fine. You want to make sure it's pretty fine because that helps it to filter better. I'm just going to pour some of it in here. Yeah, a decent amount. So as you can see, we got a layer of sand, charcoal, and then I'm going to add some more sand onto it. And then I'm going to add maybe a little bit more charcoal. Like I said, you can layer it however you want. I'm just doing it this way. You could do it less. You could do it more. You can add more charcoal, more sand, less sand. It just depends on what you want to do. And then afterward, I'm going to add in some larger size rocks. That'll help it to basically get out some of the larger stuff. So there's our filter here. What I'm going to do is I have a tin can here that I'm going to put the water in once it's filtered. So I'm just going to set our can probably on it like this or something like that and just set it against a tree and let it filter through. I'm going to see if I can get this set up here so you can see it. Try to figure out the best way to do it here. It's kind of being a pain in the butt right now. Might have to find some sort of a stick or something to keep it from falling into the water here. Okay, there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our muddy water here and we're going to pour it in. As you can see, it's soaking through. It takes a little bit of time. I'm just gonna pour more in. It's gravity fed, so as you can see, it's soaking through. It takes a lot of time. Depending on how thick you make your filter, it can take a long time, it can take a little time. It just depends. But what happens is after this filters through it, it will come out pretty clear. So, as you can see, where the water's hitting, it's starting to get wet and it's seeping down. That's what we want. We want it to seep down and fall through the hole here that we have at the end, and it'll come out clear. Because the sand filters out different things, mostly sediment. And then the charcoal filters out, like I said, chemicals and maybe some bacteria, but not all. So you still want to boil it. But as you can see, it's going through. It just takes time. Might add a little bit more water depending. Because it's kind of gravity fed, to be honest. And sometimes taking the edge and just going around it and going like this helps break it a little bit. So it's not so packed and helps it fall through more. Takes a little time before it starts flowing. Get our fire back going here, because I'm going to need that to boil the water. Yes, as you can see, it's starting to seep through. Here it hasn't touched yet. There it has. So yeah, it just takes time. I'm gonna let this sit. Like I said, it's probably gonna start filtering through pretty soon. I'm just gonna add a little bit more water because it soaks in. And like I said, you could make this, you know, less or more as far as the amount of sand and charcoal you want to add. It depends on how much you want to filter, how long you want it to take, and how pure you want your water at the end. As you can see, it's coming to the end here, and it's going to start dripping here any time probably. Hopefully it starts dripping here soon. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can squeeze around the edges to help it go a little bit faster. Oops, spilled a little bit. They'll help it to, oh, there we go. As you can see it's starting to drip. That's the water filtering through our filter right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this on our tin cup here. And I'm just going to let this do its job and filter like it's supposed to. And I'll be back with you guys when we get our cup full here. Okay, so as you can see, our water here has cleared up a ton. It's not even muddy anymore. So yeah, it's amazing how well that works. As you can see, it's almost like tap water as far as clarity. And that's all just using a filter that I made. So like I said, on the bottoms, grass. The next layer is sand. Next layer is charcoal. Then there's sand again, and then there's charcoal, a little bit more sand, and then rocks. And that, like I said, that helps to filter it to where it's nice and clear. But like I said, you still want to make sure you boil this, because even if it's clear looking like this, there's still microbes and bacteria in there. So the next step that I'm going to be doing is to simply boil it. So yes, like I said, this is a great survival method to filter your water if you have no other option. Like I said, this still filters out chlorine, heavy metals, chemicals, which depending on where you're at is a must-have, because some places have really, really bad water as far as chemicals or pesticides or any of that go. So this method works amazing to filter it and make it clear and filter out those impurities. It just, in general, makes your water safer to drink. Plus, it makes your water clearer. So yeah, that's how you make a survival water filter. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my type of content, please consider subscribing and liking. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.